This is Rafiq Luzon, and you are tuned in to Nothing But That Sports Talk.
Halliburton. He'll take it. He'll backpedal a three for the win. And goal! He got it! Surprised, though. New York's not going to put anybody on the ball. They made that inbounds very easy. Here comes Toppin. Got it! Timeout, New York. 15.3. Pacers by 3. 15.3 in overtime. And Towns fired it. And the game is over, and Indiana has won, coming back and captured game one of the Eastern Conference Finals on the road in the Garden.
Are you watching Reggie Miller or Tyrese Halliburton? As I welcome to this episode of Nothing But That Sports Talk with Rafiq Luzon, Ryan Walker, and Ryan Walker, let me ask you one question. You watch a lot of playoff games, right?
Absolutely.
You watched the Knicks and Pacers rivalry from the early 90s, right?
Absolutely.
So why did we not become aware that after Reggie Miller's 9 points in 8 second comeback, that we was going to see something similar like this, where you had a 14, where the chances of coming back for 17 points when you had like 3 minutes and 44 seconds left, and the chances of coming back for 9 points with over a minute change left are as high as the New York Mets winning 5 championships in a row from this year going forward. Why were we not aware about that? Only for it to end up happening anyway. It's good. It's crazy enough you did it against Cleveland in Game 2, but now you do it to the Knicks in the Garden. Why were we wearing that?
Let me tell you something, and that's interesting that we got light topics today, just light stuff. But you brought up that Mets conversation too. Maybe later on we'll chat about baseball a little bit, Yankees, Mets. But listen, what's so crazy? I came home yesterday. I had bought some steak and some stuff. I came in and I cooked my food and I sit down, I was watching the game. It was a good game. Pacers got up on us early. Knicks battled back, got in it. And then once they kind of got command of the game, they held it, even though both teams were going back and forth. And I remember I'm watching the game. And I remember when I got a big screen, seeing here, some of the highs looking at it now. And for a second, I turned the lights off and I laid down. It was like, I think Karl-Anthony Towns just had made a 3 in the corner of the wing or something like that. And it was, when I went to sleep, it was 3 minutes and change in the game. And Knicks is up, commanding them like, all right, just walk it down, take your time, possession by possession, make free throws. They'll be good. I get back up, like maybe 45, 50 minutes later, and I see him, I'm watching Tyrese Halliburton on the press conference. And then it says, Pacers win 138, 135. And I'm like, what the hell could they have done to, or what they would say, what the Halliburton? But what could they have done in that time that I put my eyes to sleep to lose the game? One, I'm not even shocked. I've seen more. Not seen more. That what they did yesterday in this new analytics of sports life is with 2:44 on the clock. In the history of the NBA playoffs, there's been 933 teams that had a 14-point lead, and all 933 teams won with this 14-point lead in the last 2:44. And of course, yesterday is 933 plus 1 because the Knicks let that game go and didn't finish out in the end. There's a lot of things that went into that. See, we got to remember that the Indiana Pacers are number 1 in the pace all time in NBA history. Mm-hmm. The only person that's number 2 to them is themselves last year because they were the number 1 pace for this new statistic that we put in basketball now in regards to how they play on the offensive end with Rick Carlisle as a coach. and you know how they move with their guys in general. Siakam and Neesmith. Remember, Neesmith wasn't there last year in the series neither. But I mean, we had a lot of guys that were hurt as well too. But um, with them playing that pace, we gotta just. That's a good reminder, and this is gonna be a 7-game series. Remember, I told you this now. Remember, I told you this now. The Knicks are gonna win tomorrow. Very confident about that. They're going to win tomorrow at home. It'll be 1-1. They're going to go to Indiana. Indiana has a hostile crowd. Indiana might get game 3. Knicks might steal game 3, but I think Indiana might game 3. And then Knicks will win game 4 on the road and then win game 5 to go up 3-2. Everybody going to get happy like we going to try to clinch. Indiana going to show heart. They're going to win game 6. And then everything going to get decided back at the Garden. I'm pretty sure that's what the NBA people want too. TNT, last broadcast for the playoffs. The money, MSG, the Pacers, the rivalry, Patrick Ewing in the building, Reggie Miller, Spike Lee, Stephon Marbury, Spreewell, all the great legends there, LJ, Canby, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot that goes into it as well. So I'm not surprised. I lived through the Reggie Miller thing when I was a kid, so that one hit more. But they didn't execute at the end. You can't. Neesmith is a good shooter. You can't let him get in. You can't know that at one point he knocked down 3 straight, even with the lead that you had, and then continuing to watch him shoot as he's getting into a rhythm. Halliburton makes plays like that. There's so many debatable things. Guys are looking at calls and like, oh, did he double dribble on that play? That's hindsight. I didn't see it live. I watched it actual, so it's like it's hindsight of 2020. He might have. All right, the refs didn't call it. Probably could have called a little touch foul on Bridges. They didn't call that. He shoots a 3, bounces off one thing, it goes in. 1-2 inches out to the left. We're talking about a whole different game. Just barely surviving and winning. It didn't work out that way. They didn't finish off in overtime. It's a learning experience, and I promise you, now with they're reminding themselves with that pace they play, they're always still going to put up shots. So if they have a game like that where they have a lead, they have to continue to keep their offensive pace as well too, because the Pacers, unless they unload their bench and they play guys, they're not just going to just give up like that with the pace they play, because they're not a great defensive team. They got a couple guys that will get pesky on defense. Turner can, make plays defensively. McConnell's a pest on the defensive end. Halliburton can get in the passing lanes and do steals here and there, but they're not a great defensive team. That's another reason why they play that pace, and that's why the Knicks have to just bottle that up, look at the footage, no matter how much it hurts, come back Friday, play a full game, and finish out and try to go on the road. They're, it's early stats, but they're 5-1 on the road in this postseason. It's your job to steal a game, to reclaim your home court, and take care of your business. For all of us, whether the Knicks fandemoniums or the analytics, whoever thought it was going to be Knicks in a sweep or Knicks in 5, or Knicks in 5, I always knew that's astronomical. It's going to be a good series. They're a good team. It's going to be a 6 or 7 game series. I got it, like I said, going 7. And we're going to see. It's a learning experience. They'll be fine. I promise you they'll be re-energized. If anything, I know they're definitely pissed off, and that's a very proud locker room there of guys. They'll be fine tomorrow. It's a part of the postseason experience. It's just good to see some of the uproar and the criticism afterwards. It's a 7 game series, guys.
Yeah, you're right. It's a 7-game series, and I know it's not necessarily like a dream nightmare per se, because it's only game 1 and not elimination game 5, 6, or 7.
At game 7, we're talking a different hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, last year the loss in game 7 was really, really bad. But at the very least, the Knicks got one of the first 2 games, protected home court up until that point. They got to a good start. This year, it's like you lose game 1, you hit the panic button.
No.
You're not hitting the panic button.
So let me ask you a question. Should Minnesota hit the panic button?
No, but that's different. Minnesota didn't have home court advantage.
Say it again?
Minnesota didn't have home court advantage.
What does it?
But then again,
Should they hit the panic button?
No.
Well.
In the Indiana Pacers after the first round, they didn't even have home court advantage. They won all 3 of the road games in Cleveland, and they won in that same fashion they did right now. The only difference is the Pacers need overtime to beat the Knicks.
You see if you would have been saying to me that the Pacers dominated the Knicks and were better all the way through, I would say, yeah, the Knicks should hit the panic button. But that's not what happened yesterday. Through all the madness, through all the how, the Knicks had the lead with 3 minutes and change and 2 minutes and change going into the game. Shoot, after blowing the lead, they still had a marginal lead at the end of the game. Karl Anthony Towns missed a free throw. OG missed a free throw. There was a pass with Brunson to OG. He clearly bobbles. I don't know why he didn't catch that ball. He's got to catch it to dunk it or catch it to pull it back out. There was a debatable play with Brunson, they say, going up for a layup, right? And they say that was a goaltend, right? So that didn't stop play. No excuse. They're saying the Halliburton play could have been debatable double dribble. There was a lot of things that happened in the last whatever. But if they just watch a guy make a bucket and come down and run that clock and try to make a dribble drive play and maybe get to the line and eventually play the clock game and make enough stops to the you gotta know that you gotta know that they're number one in pace. So if you up 14 with 2 and change, the offense is not what you need. It's defensive stops to get to shoot free throws, right? To prolong it. You want to get it to at least $120. When it's about $125 on the clock, that's when they got to go into extra trap mode and foul whatever mode and then go from there. 2 and change, you can still play that game. You get it down to $1 and change, and you make a couple free throws. You know, it is what it is. They made a lot of if they execute the way they're supposed to execute, then they win that game. So it's not like, man, the Pacers beat the Knicks. They were better than them. Yeah, the Pacers did beat the Knicks. But were the Knicks up by 14 with 2 minutes and change on the clock?
Yeah.
So they blew the Pacers won the game, but the Knicks blew the game. So if the Knicks, you listen, it hurts this morning, you wipe it off, boom. You got practice today. You got to give a game tomorrow. You're in the Eastern Conference Finals. You play tomorrow. They know that with your home crowd, as long as you go out and you get that same effort you had yesterday, y'all should be in a position to be up on this team, and you just got to capitalize better at the end of the game. And if you do that, you won one. Of course, they wanted to go up 2-0. We get it. Of course, everybody wants to go up 2-0. It didn't happen. How many games did you expect this series to go?
I expect to go 6.
All right, so you expected the Knicks to lose at some point, right? So whether it was them going up 2-0 in your mind, and then I guess Pacers winning the next 2 games, and then the Knicks winning the one at home and then one on the road, if that was your envision, that could still somehow occur. But it didn't work out that way, and they lost the road game. A game that they know they should have won, that they played better than the other team. They let go at the end. If they execute and do the same things at home, they're 1-1. And you just take it on the road. Listen, if they would have went up 2-0, we still would have said, yo, let's try to get 1 on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So your goal is to get 1 on the road and just bring it back. If Minnesota wins tonight, it's a whole different series. You know what I'm saying? But I get what your point is. You do have a checkpoint. The only thing that hurts even more with that one is that that's a home game. You know what I'm saying? But this has happened. How long have you been a Knicks fan? You know how many times they lose the home game? You know what's so crazy? Before clinching last series against Boston, you know the stat. The Knicks didn't have a home clinching game for a playoff since 1999. And this is what they do. This is Knicks stuff. If we come back and win,
blame the fact that you had 2 different occasions where the Knicks went 5 or 6 years. The Knicks went 3 years minimum without making the playoffs. And when you do make it, first round exit, second round exit, missed the playoffs for 7 years. First round exit, didn't make the playoffs. 2 second round exits in a row against lower seed teams.
Yeah.
So you got that to think about.
Well, they're
I
gonna
mean,
regroup. They're gonna be all right tonight.
franchises have had two different, like two of the similar occasions. They have not had that many postseason appearances or that many years that they were good, and even when they do make it, they get out early. Up until this calendar year.
Right. I mean, listen, they've been in the second round the last couple of years. That's it. Second round would just be it. Even with the pandemonium, saying I think the Trae Young year they lost first round, right? Was it Trae Young year?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that year was first round, but everything else they went to the second round.
Yes, that is true. And even though I'm still kind of like disappointed about the way we went out in the last game, you got to give credit where credit is due. The Knicks are not basketball preparatory anymore. They haven't watched since high school.
I don't understand you.
The New York Knicks are not egregious and awful and missing the playoffs.
Oh no, they're good. When you were in high school, they were pretty decent. What years you were? No, you were no. When you were in high school, they were bad. They were bad.
05 to 09.
Yeah, they were bad. My high school years, they were good. Middle school, high school, they were good. You know what I'm saying? But no, high school time, yeah, they were. I mean, those are bad teams.
Yeah, the Marbury. And the funny thing about it is, even with everything happening while Marbury was playing, he still showed his loyalty to the Knicks. They did with the other franchises because being the New Yorker, Lincoln High School. And for somebody that's been around on high school basketball and street ball, I don't need to remind you what type of high school brand that is built when people play at Lincoln High School.
Yeah.
Now, Marbury's showing his loyalty. Just like every other Knicks alumni.
But Marbury's he a Brooklyn guy. Big Brooklyn. He New York. He always been so New York. That's one thing. Yeah. He's a Brooklyn guy. He played
exactly. Even though he ended his career is literally living in overseas in China, having his best life, he's still loyal to New York.
Of course.
That's not something you can debate. I once bought this. Remember the strawberry shoes that Stephen Marbury had, the Stephen Barry's back in the day?
Had them too.
I used to buy. I used to go crazy for them. Like the crazy designs for only $14.
Yeah, that's tough. That was tough. Those were the Stephen Barry days.
And Marbury signed my signature when I believe I was in high school sophomore when they came out with strawberries. Man.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. The Coney Island days. Steph did a lot for the culture, for the community, for that. So that was big time. Which I'm hearing he's thinking about launching and bringing that back. So that'd be tough, for guys right now. It actually is a cool looking ball hooping sneaker. So that's big time. And New York is just doing it right now. I was just happy that they're in it. And like I said, I wish they could have got the victory yesterday. They should have got it. They let it go. It hurts things. You got to move on. You got to game them all, and you got a chance to redeem what you did yesterday, and make it 1-1, and you go to Indiana and win a road game. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to compare it, but if Cleveland can go to Indiana and be down 2-0 and win a road game, and as long as we can split it up, it's possible to go down there and win a basketball game. And
not one of those unintentional comparisons. If the Oklahoma City Thunder could still find himself in the conference finals after losing game 1 at home to the Denver Nuggets, who 2 years ago won a championship, by the way, then that should need some inspiration to us Knicks fans to try to do that as well. Turn it around and drag it out to a game 7 and win the series.
Yeah, bro. And see, that's what I'm saying. This is why I say we got to play the games. The Knicks are not a young team, so they've been through a couple wars, even in this postseason with other guys before, and guys been in other situations that you'll be able, with a good coaching staff. We got a tough, good coaching staff to bounce back. Oklahoma City as a good team, top team last year. I think was the top team in the West last year, and top team in the league now this year, record wise, with clearly, of course, the MVP. Before that, in the first round series, they was down at home, right? Denver won the first game in their house. Aaron Gordon on a buzzer beater three, and Denver, gave them a run for money. There was a point too. I think that Denver might have been up 3-2, right?
Nah, Denver was up 2-1.
Two to one at one point tops, and Oklahoma with their MVP player and their battle tested, they fought back and they didn't panic. There's no need. We don't have a young team and we don't have unexperienced guys. Jalen Brunson is a dog. He's a leader. He's a captain. They'll lock in. Cat will have a good game. He'll figure it out. They'll lock in. OG is, believe it or not, even hurt on that team, but an NBA champion and played with a championship team the next year still with the Raptors when he was trying to defend it and had plenty of experience and good times in the postseason and still now, Bridges has had his times. The Cat has been to the Western Conference Finals, back in the Eastern Conference Finals. He's, what I'm saying? We got guys that have been there, these, and a lot of the guys that there are driven and been there. A loss is a loss. So at the end of the day, as much as it hurts, it's still a loss. And now the goal is just win that next home game, put a halfway point on home court, and go to Indiana and win a road game. If they can win tomorrow and win Sunday in Indiana and go up 2-1, we're all talking a different telecast. If they win today and lose Sunday and then tie it up and go 2-2 the Tuesday or the Wednesday, when they come back to the Garden, we're all gonna be like, yeah, the Knicks are good. It's gonna be a series, bro.
Yeah, I expect a good series. I expect both conference series to be good. And it's safe to say that it's kind of even with the Minnesota Timberwolves Knicks trade because both teams end up in the conference finals.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and look how many guys are flourishing in general. Obi Toppin's on a playoff team and playing right now. Isaiah Hartenstein, Randall, Dante DiVincenzo. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Knicks guys is doing good, or guys that came from the tutelage with it. So everybody's in good positions. It's cool basketball.
Yep, it's definitely cool. I can't wait to see how that plays out. All right, now to end the show was nothing but that sports talk, quick talk. The New York Mets barely avoided getting swept by the Red Sox after pulling off a 5-1 victory, and the Yankees, well, they managed to take the first two for the Texas Rangers. And not too long ago, the Yankees managed to get 2 out of 3 for the New York Mets in the Bronx last week. So, yeah. What are your thoughts about the way things are flourishing with the Mets and Yankees this year?
Is that Rangers series still going on? They won today too. The Yankees.
They won 1-0.
1-0. Carlos Rodon. Yeah. You know what? We following the Knicks basketball so much, and the WNBA season just started. God bless the Liberty. I'm going to focus and lock in a lot more with that when the NBA season locked in. But I expect us to go back to back, but that's a whole different other story. I still watch baseball. I'm paying attention to it, even though it's so locked in with the Knicks. And you know what? And that's why I tell guys baseball is such a marathon, not a sprint, because such in this early season with them, the Yankees have been playing really better baseball in the last 6-7 games. But they've had their stretches even throughout the season. Like they've had games where they won like 3 in a row, then lost like 5, then won like 4, then lost like 4, then won like 3. They have to get into groove and figure it out. You also have to remember too that we started off the season with such key injuries. We won't have Garrett Cole this season. We had Tommy John, unless something catastrophic happens. Giancarlo Stanton is on the injured list, who's a devastating power hitter and a outstanding postseason hitter. Cabrera just got a big broken ankle about 2 weeks ago at third base. Thank God we have had good kids with Yorvid, Espada, and who else we put over there? We could put LeMayu sometimes over there, hurt in the corner to replace what they're doing. So we kind of replaced that void, thank God. But Jazz Chisholm, remember, has also got hurt. Started the season, was hitting home runs but wasn't batting average too well. Was struggling with that part, got hurt. So we'll have a while before we get him back too. So with these injuries, they still been figuring it out. Paul Goldschmidt has hit superb all year. Bellinger, they thought it started off started actually hitting a little bit of bombs. Fell into a cold streak. Everybody's like, "Oh, Bellinger is actually knocking the strings off the baseball right now." Trenton Grisham has worked out beautiful. That was a part of the Soto trade. Thank God. We got him playing center field. He can absolutely hit. We know what Aaron Judge is doing. He's hitting 400. 400. Okay. Um, who else? Jason Dominguez, the
Mhm.
young kid, getting play. And they're still working on things defensively, but boy, offensively, can he hit? And you got guys in there, Anthony Volpe, you have core guys, DJ LeMayu has now got his opportunity back, ridden with injuries, healthy now. So with Cabrera going out, now you can play more in that infield and make a thing. Hopefully we can keep the boat flowing to Chisholm and Giancarlo comes back. We can't replace Garrett Cole, but look, Max Fried has actually been pretty much the best pitcher in baseball right now.
Mhm.
Carlos Rondon just pitched a 1-0 game.
Yeah.
Mr. So-called erratic. Another good start. Clark Schmidt has found a way to turn it around. He's giving them good innings. They got the kid Will Warren, that young kid who's been surprising kids every time he gets to start, out there pitching very well. Luis Gil will be back very soon. He's coming around the corner, so give it time. They're pitching well. Devin Williams started out bad in the ninth inning. Had to find himself. We put him in the eighth inning now. He's lights out. Luke Weaver has taken over the ninth inning role. He's doing well. As long as it's not broke, it's not fix it. If Williams gets his head back and he's going again, throw him back in the ninth. Whatever works out, but whatever is working is working. They're hitting, they're playing, and I just want to say this. I never called any one of my guys to brag about it. I just called one of my guys, Augustine, today to talk about the Soto thing. How that's a whole other thing I'm
Yeah.
gonna bring up real quick, but um I called I wanted to say it here because I wanted to say, like, when the Yanks beat the Mets and we win a series, you notice I don't gotta call 1,000 people. I don't gotta make a post. All of my guys know who they talking to. We beat y'all fair and square. We really should have swept y'all. One of the games that won went to extra innings, 4-3, where we was up in the game 3-2 as well. But that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Baseball is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not being the better team in New York. That's corny. It's about being the best team in baseball. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
We should cut that thing thinking about, unfortunately for the Mets fan base, it's a great and proud fan base, and I got nothing against them. I know a lot of my guys, Queens and everything, those are my guys, Long Island guys, true hard Mets fans. But at the end of the day, you got to remember that, unfortunately, mathematically, conversation wise, the Yankees will always have the bigger conversation because of the 27 titles compared to the two. And there's nothing wrong with that. I was watching a 30 for
Yeah,
30, a great documentary the
I mean,
other day.
we weren't alive for every championship the Yankees won, but the fact of the matter is,
It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying?
the past
It's
guys
there.
never say that the 27 championships don't matter.
How
Really?
many how many championships were you alive for the Celtics? When were you born? First of all, when were you born?
All I'm
What
going
year?
to tell you is, I only saw the championship wins in '08 and 2024.
Exactly.
Oh, during the ones they won during the Bill Russell year, they got
You
rid
didn't see
of and
they
Larry
got
Bird.
16 others.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So
that was before I was born. The Yankees, everything they won when I was alive was during the Derek Jeter era.
yeah,
The three,
no. That's yeah, well, yes.
and the one time they won with excuse me, A Rod was on the team.
Right. But you've seen five.
Mm-hmm.
You've witnessed five.
Or at
So
least I
you can
was
say
around
that.
during five.
A lot of people can't say that. So, but the fact of the matter is that because of the numerical difference, the Yankees are always going to be that prominent conversation when it comes to baseball in New York. That doesn't mean the Mets don't follow their fan base and be passionate. They should. Like I said, I watched a beautiful I've seen it before, but I watched a beautiful documentary the other day, 30 for 30, with the Mets in the 1986 team. And with the different trials and tribulations they went through, and Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden and Mookie Wilson and Keith Hernandez and oh my God, they had a good team. They
Right.
Ojeda.
Mhm.
Oh God, who was the catcher? Gary Carter. You know what I'm saying? They had a good team and they were scrappy. And then if you watch it now in hindsight, like the Mets won, and that's why I always fight with Pat. But the Mets won and they did. But boy, did they get lucky and did a lot of breaks work out for them in that World Series to win it. But we can't take that away. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? They won it. They beat the Red Sox fair and square. They won 69 with Tom Seaver. They had a great team then. And but unfortunately, that conversation is always going to be that the Yankees have the Yankees Mets rivalry. I think it's like 82-57. Like what? Like what's the
It's just
sense?
a
Well,
massive.
I'm not gonna wake up in the morning and be like, "Yo, Patrick, the Yankees is better." It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like it's about being the best team in baseball. I know this much. The Dodgers kicked both of our butts.
Exactly.
That's who I want to play. I want to play. I want to beat them.
No
But you know,
question
it
about
was
it.
a good series. It was a good Subway series. We got to go to City Field, avenge them. I'm hearing Juan Soto on the low is not happy. Who knows how that is? You got a 15-year deal. You're stuck there, bro. So that's your new home. Figure it out. And
Yeah, and I noticed that he doesn't hustle to try to get the base. It,
well, he's that's something they got to work out. So crazy. We never had that issue. Thank God. He could have he might be able to get away with that more because of the money he's making. Because ain't no manager. I mean, the manager got to make sure he dig into, but he got to make sure he get the call from the front office. But he would have never done that with that. We don't know. I know Aaron Boone would have said something, and he would have got the backing from everybody. So they wouldn't have lacked him for a slug. We knew last year on the low. Like I told people, he got a great arm. He does got a cannon of an arm. He can get it and throw a guy out, but he is bad defensively. And I don't know how great y'all baseball minds is, but if you watch him with certain plays in baseball, with the outfield, he is bad. The angles he takes, his fielding position, he's not that fast. Defensively for a play, he's actually very and after certain plays get by him, he doesn't really put all that effort in. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not happy there. And if that headline that I'm hearing that Michael K said, who's a very smart Yankees insider, and he's saying that I'm higher certain people ups have said that Soto wanted to stay a Yankee and be a Yankee, but his family was more comfortable with Mr. Cohen and felt more comfortable with Mr. Cohen, the Mets billionaire, and his family was the one that persuaded him to go there. Then whether you're unhappy or not, this is what you got. You have $810 million. Make you happy.
exactly. Well, he has a long career ahead of him, so I'm not really too upset about that.
Yeah.
Let's just see what happens when Juan Soto builds off his struggles. I mean, he's not as good as Aaron Judge at the beginning of the season, but obviously he'll grow over time.
Yeah. He won't be he can't be better than Aaron Judge, period, though. Doesn't matter.
He can't.
He just can't. The two best players in baseball are Aaron Judge and Ohtani, period. And Soto, no disrespect, I don't want no Mets people to kill me. Now make sure I say this first. He's a generational hitter. He's a generational talent. He's a piss poor defender. And because he cannot do all three, that doesn't make he can never be an Aaron Judge or an Ohtani. You understand me? Ohtani can not Ohtani elects and they put him in a position to be DH. Ohtani can play the outfield at a high level defensively, and he can be a stellar pitcher. We've seen it at a high level. Defense is what he can do that on top of hitting, and he's a transitional talent on helping his team with other good guys win the World Series. Judge is an astronomical talent. Astronomical. He's hitting 400, bro. Leading in slugging, home runs, competing for the triple crown again. Going to probably be American League MVP by accident.
Mm-hmm.
It's just two different levels.
to different levels. Even though Otani isn't doing what he did last year statistically, he can still put up good numbers.
Yep.
That's something I can't sleep on. You can't.
Yep.
Well, that opens this episode of the But That Sports. So thank you for stopping by, Ryan Walker. And we're going to be back at it as we continue to observe the season. And if you want the results on games 2 and 3 of the conference finals, the Knicks and Pacers and the Timberwolves and Thunder, you're going to have to tune into the next episode. This might get published after the Timberwolves and Thunder game 2. So, yeah. For Ryan Walker, Rafiq Lewis on. We'll see you next time.
Yes, sir.